Max winning the World Championship is not the only problem people have with Formula One. Last season, fans were adamant about the amount of overtaking there was. The design of the F1 cars had a devastating impact on the following car, making it hard to overtake when following behind a car. The drivers could lose up to 50% of their power due to dirty air. The FIA and Formula One, being the powers that be, could not let that happen. Drivers being unable to overtake means that people become less interested in watching a boring race and drivers become frustrated. The new design of the Formula One car aims to change that, as easier overtaking means thrilling races, putting the pressure on drivers as they need to use more skill to keep their position. So what exactly are the changes? The bigger the better. Everyone is talking about the new F1 wheels. Are they bad or are they good? Well, that depends on perspective. From the point of view of the FIA, the wheels are definitely better. The wheels have changed from 13-inch to a beefy 18s. Before we discuss the 18s, let's talk about why the wheels were 13-inch in the first place. Back in the 1980s, the rules weren't as structured as they are today. Teams found loopholes everywhere. One of these was the brake size. Obviously, the bigger brakes you have, the later you can brake and overtake another car, since most of the overtaking takes place in the turns. F1 didn't want this, so they made the wheel size 13-inch. Fast forward to today, and the wheels are made bigger because F1 added the standard size of the brake disc the teams must have. The wheels are also low profile. This change was made to avoid the tires becoming slippery when they overheat. These changes had the main motive to create closer racing, and the bigger wheels apparently help with the car design process and resources required to build that car, since there is that pesky budget limitation which was decreased to $140 million. From the team's perspective, bigger wheels means a slower car. Since they have a bigger surface area, they need more power to rotate. The bigger wheels can make drivers lose up to 2 seconds, which isn't necessarily a big problem since all teams have the same 18-inch wheels. This makes the car feel slower and a bit more sluggish in the turn, says Max Verstappen, the defending world champion. The last change to the wheels is the covers. I'm not exactly sure the impact they will have on the cars, but they have been made mandatory again to promote closer racing. But whether they affect tire temperature, I have no clue. The FIA also put stringent regulations to the teams so the teams cannot alter the covers. The new simple. Aerodynamics is a huge part of going fast. Designers have spent decades formulating ideas to improve aerodynamics, making cars zip through the air without slowing down. However, the more aero, the more drag. As the car makes a way across the racetrack, those wings make sure the car is not just passing through the air, but rather gaining from it, by using it to push the car down so that there's more grip to go faster. But the air is like, no dude, you can't just use us. Boom, we're gonna slow you down. So designers take cues from nature, like the raindrop, to gain downforce with no drag. Cars have smoother lines and curves compared to the earlier designs that were bulky and edgy, like the Ferrari F40. However, in F1, there's not only one car using the same air. In order to utilize all those aero parts, cars need clean air, or air that has not been disrupted. As one car speeds through the air, the molecules change direction as they move through the body of the car. Then, the car right behind must use that same dirty air to provide that downforce, making them slower and harder to overtake, or even keep up with the leader. Thus, the changes to the F1 car was made. The first change is the wing, made simpler, with no sharp edges and more curves. The front wing diverts the air underneath the car instead of along the sides. The air is then sent out to the diffuser and sent upwards. The engineers actually wanted to remove the entire front wing, but decided against it. To keep up the theme of close racing, Formula One decided to bring back ground effects, which started in the 70s. Ground effects work like a vacuum. The underneath of the car is blocked off with side skirts so that the air trapped underneath can suck the car to the road, providing more downforce. sort of the opposite of aero. Some teams took this to the extreme, the Brabham fan car. However, these Formula 1 cars don't have side skirts, but instead tunnels underneath the car that generate ground effect, but not as much as before. The rear wings were designed again with smoother lines and curved edges. The rear wing intends to create a mushroom of air as it passes through and then send straight up to avoid the following car. The diffuser does the same job, sending the air up and away. All of these changes are set to make closer racing. The following car can experience a 4% performance decrease when following just 3 car lengths behind and 18% when 1 car length behind. This is obviously better than before. However, the theory and simulations try hard to depict reality, but reality remains reality. So as the season progresses, we will just see how much improvement this new design has. Because of the downforce philosophy, change from aerodynamics to ground effects, the pre-season testing at Barcelona, Catalunya, with a lot of porpoising on the straights. This means the cars are bouncing up and down more than what was anticipated, and is the biggest drawback of the new design. The team that solves this problem the quickest will have the biggest advantage for the 2022 season. Apart from all the technicalities, I really like the design of this car. It's the best one in a long time. It looks thin and small, simple and elegant, compared to the long and bulky 2021 cars. I really look forward to this season and what can become of it. Same but different. The power unit is the same as 2021, a 1.6 litre turbocharged hybrid that can push 1000 horsepower. However, this number can change according to the situation. The engine itself can make 150 horsepower, with 150 of that coming from the engine recovery system. The one major change for the 2021 season is the fuel. The world is moving towards sustainability so that humanity will survive for longer. I say have fun now and bear the consequences later. But I don't rule the FIA, which stipulates that the fuel must have biocomponents. The current fuel has 5.75% biocomponents. For 2022, this number has almost doubled. It's now 10%, and the FIA is leading towards 100. They want the F1 ethanol 10 fuel in line with current fuel regulations. How about making fuel cheaper, goddamn? The production of the fuel has a zero carbon footprint. The effort put into this design is enormous. They started all the way back in 2017. They ran over 7,500 simulations, and the data they collected was over half a petabyte, which is 500,000 gigabytes, or equivalent to 10 million Facebook pictures. If you had to process all this information on an Intel quad-core i9 laptop, it would take around about 471 years before you could get the results. So yeah, a lot of effort. Hopefully it won't be all for nothing, and the races become more energetic and more intense. The drivers are given the opportunity to work harder for the championship, and the underdogs can get some points.